Tonight's feature winner, Evan Hubert, starts inside row 3 with Mark Dotson is outside. Back in row 4, Chad Wheeler will wheel the number 88 with rookie Robert Heidenreich beside him. Jason Hughes starts inside row 5, and the wily veteran Jeff Cutshaw in the 98 outside 5. Back in row 6, Mike Striegel and Jared Fuller. In the top 12, Tyler Wolf starts inside row 7, Chase Jones beside him in the 03J. Back in row 8, Jason Persley and Jordan Fuller make up that row. And then in row 9, Terry Schultz and Daniel Franklin. Coming out of the B mains from earlier this evening, Derek Hicks and Ronnie Woods back in row 10. And in row 11, Paul Reeder and Tracy Wolf. And in row 12, rounding out the field, Ryan Middaugh. And Scotty Boo, the fast mover in the B main earlier, went from 18th to 4th. He'll have a lot more to do if he wants to get to the front in this one.
24 cars in the field, 30 laps, $1,200 to win, and $150 to start for each one of these cars. Not something the modifieds get every week, but that's what makes the 26th annual Show Me 100, presented by ProtectTheHarvest.com, so special. Cars will line up 2 by 2 by 2. The Pyro show earlier was incredible. The late model show was worth staying up for, and these modifieds are going to put the hammer down and give us one more show here in Wheatland, Missouri. Darron Fuqua off to a good start, but at the back of the pack, you can't say the same thing. 5 cars, Shane, collected in the back of the field.
Didn't take long. They knew, even though they've got 30 laps to get to the front, they needed to make a move early, and there's the principal, Jason Persley, right in the middle of it. Number of cars involved way in the back. Paul Reeder, who started back in row 11. We take another look at it here as they just tangled up trying to get to the green. A little too much congestion, kind of like a Walmart parking lot on a Sunday afternoon. Had nowhere to go, get tangled up, and 3 or 4 of them go out. Jason Persley down on that low side just jumped into the rear of the
definitely changed the characteristics for the modifieds here for the USRA series.
The yellow flag went in the air before we got a lap in the books. Let's see if Darron Fuqua has another good start as he slides up the racetrack, and will take him down into turn number 1. Already another car taking a tumble again, as we are having a rough start to this one here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. The 21 taking an extra turn here on the restart.
Ryan Middaugh unable to keep it straight out of Fulton, Missouri, still unable to keep it straight.
That tire cut down on the left side. You can see it flattening out as he tries to tool his way around the dirt here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Watch the restart here, Shane, and he kind of just loses it there as he tries to work his way through turn 1 into turn 2. The tire down, and that'll take a turn every time.
That front row has your national point leader.
Say, we got to look into that sort of RV sponsorship. Get one of those up here next year. Nobody wants to leave this track. It's incredible. The crowd has been incredible all 3 days, and so is the racing. We're still at lap 0 here in Wheatland, Missouri. Let's see if we can turn some dirt this time. Darron Fuqua out of Mayetta, Kansas will lead him around again. 3 and 4 wide on turn number 1. We have 1 car sliding around the bottom of the track, but Shane, he gets back up in line and continues. Darron Fuqua will lead lap number 1 here. Fuqua starting to pull away, has about 3 or 4 car lengths advantage on Wolf.
He has had a hot rod all weekend long, led every single lap in the feature back on Thursday. A little bit of a tough outing for him on Friday. It was, again, a different type of track. Worked himself all the way up to 10th, but he has stayed out in front here tonight.
He continues to dominate here, starting to pull away from Wolf again. You see the 21T of Lancetown. He is number 2 in the national points behind Fuqua, and he finished 4th place in this race in 2017.
Talk about a guy that had no worries coming into today. We went down to try to find him down in the pits in the garage area.
Couldn't find him.
He was at the lake fishing. By the way, he caught 2 bass.
Say, that is a good day. Maybe he could follow up a good fishing day with a good racing night and find his way into victory lane. Darron Fuqua continues to lead him around as a little bit of congestion back in about the 7th, 8th, and 9th position. Jeff Cutshaw starting to turn some laps now. There you see the 88 making its way down the front stretch. Chad Wheeler, C-Dub out of Muskogee, Oklahoma, 6th place last night in the feature.
And you see Jason Hughes working the inside. Had a great run on Thursday, but had some transmission issues last night. Pulled out of the B feature early, did not finish in that. He thinks he's got it all squared away, and so far it looks like he does.
Hughes, a power move out of turn 4 to try and stave off Hughes as they go side by side on the exit of turn number 2 now, right behind the 98H of Robert Heidenreich. Hollywood, only 2 nights in a modified, normally runs B mods, and he's got a good spot here in our A main tonight as you see those 3 cars racing around the Lucas Oil Speedway. 7 laps in the book of our 30-lap feature here to close out the Show Me 100 weekend.
Well, when Heidenreich started, he had his boss right behind him in Cutshaw, and we asked him earlier, are you going to push him to the front or are you going to push him out of the way? And so far it has been Heidenreich that's had the advantage as he's worked himself all the way up to 7th already.
We have a car off the pace. He's managed to turn it down into the infield. Darron Fuqua looking for feature win number 102 as you see the 78 down on the inside of the track. The second tire we've seen down here so far in this one. Derek Hicks out of Ravenwood, Missouri. The fatality down there. His car can't go now, so he will sit on the infield as Darron Fuqua continues to turn laps. Shane, we've seen Fuqua this year win 5 features in a row, and it looks like that race car is hooked up like it was Thursday night when he won the feature.
Won the feature that night. He's won those 5 features at 3 different tracks as the yellow flag comes out.
Our second caution of the night in there is you got a good look at R.C. Whitwell. And it's Robert Heidenreich, Hollywood, who had been having such a good weekend learning how to drive one.
To come, live events here on BAF TV.
Talk about racing on 2 wheels. That's where our number 4 driver in the top 4 right now, Joe Duvall, started. He raced flat track motorcycles all the way into his 30s until switching up about 15 or so years ago to get in to a modified.
He's a TV guy. Nice segue.
I try, Bob, I try. Green flag flies again. Bruce Cordy puts that green flag in the air. And another good restart here for Fuqua. And that 71T of R.C. Whitwell, the gentleman that was your MLRA Rookie of the Year, a Mars Rookie of the Year. Doesn't matter what type of race car you put him in, the dude can flat out drive. And he sits in 2nd place. Right behind him, Lance Town out of Wellsville, Kansas. Tommy McCoy, the crew chief on his car, and he has got a good battle door to door with Hughes.
But Jason Hughes has been the man on the move. He started back inside row 5 and 9th. He's the meat of the sandwich there, but he's in a top 5 position already. And a lot of the drivers before this race started looked at that guy coming from the middle of the pack and thought he is the dangerous guy. He's the sleeper. He's the one that can come up and nab this.
A 3-car race for 3rd as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 and bring it around in front of the grandstands here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. Fuqua now starting to run the middle line. We watched a lot of that Show Me 100. It seemed to be 2 distinct grooves. A lot of guys were either stuck to the bottom or they were rim riding around the top. The middle not used quite as much in that race and maybe not going to be used much here as we've got 13 laps in the book. Now 14 laps down here in this one.
Except for Cutshaw. He's right in the middle. The way he enters, you see him using a little bit of that center groove, and it's kind of working for him at this point. Slides the nose just a little bit right there, but Cutshaw is the only guy really semi-successful at that inside groove, or the middle groove.
Saw in that 3-way battle that number 9 car, Evan Hubert, wins last night, sponsored by Lucas Oil. His dad is the one that transformed this into Lucas Oil Speedway. Took a Wheatland track that was very average and made it into the diamond that it is.
You say Wheatland, you can't say Wheatland without the Wheatland outlaw, Mike Striegel, in a battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th, but midway back there, Wheeler to his inside. Mark Dotson, the 54-year-old who told us earlier today he's semi-retired, but his grandkids won't let him retire. They like coming to the racetrack too much.
Striegel on the inside. He loves a track like this. He wants it nice and slick. He's got a crate engine, so he takes advantage of it whenever he can, and a slick track is whenever he's able to get the most out of it.
We've learned so much from meeting with guys like Mike Striegel in the pits week in and week out here. Talk about running that crate engine, the difference between that and an open engine. You get a couple more inches on the spoiler, get a little bit more bite, and he says the setup is what makes it. But right now, the best setup on the track continues to be in that 87 car as Darron Fuqua is flying.
Almost a second-and-a-half advantage for Fuquay over Whitwell, who sits back in second, then another 2 seconds back to Hughes in third. So Darron Fuquay has been turning some tremendous times at 18.6, his best lap so far.
Another car has made its way into the infield. That's the 98H of Hollywood Robert Heidenreich as he sits on the infield now, and R.C. Whitwell trying to make up ground on Fuqua. You see him bouncing that hot rod through the turn, up on the wheel, fighting it a little bit, riding the bumps around this track right now as we have reached the midway point, or pardon me, we've got 20 laps in, 10 laps to go here.
Again, Hughes now tries that high side.
Look at him carry that front tire through the turn. That Hughes Racing chassis underneath him doing quite a job turning laps here. Currently scored in third, an 18.878 lap time. The cars, Shane, starting to get spaced out, and there's some room to race now.
Plenty of room for Fuquay on top of that. Still that second-and-a-half advantage. He's got plenty of distance until he gets back to Whitwell. And then Lance Town, he's trying to work his way up. He's up to fourth now. And Lance Town is parked right beside Fuquay. Every single time they're out here, they share a lot of information, and they're the top two guys in the national point standings.
Fourth place is exactly where Lance Town finished in this race 1 year ago. 7 laps to go now as they are ticking off, and the field is starting to run out of time, but we know what the great equalizer is, and that's lap traffic, and that's what Darron Fuqua, your race leader, is getting into now as he tries to wheel his way around the 97 and sets his sights on the 00 of Scotty Boo as we continue to watch Lance Town drive it through the middle of the turn.
And you hope that Darron Fuqua wasn't thinking about what happened to Owens in that late model race whenever he was out front leading the pack. Trying to get through lap traffic, gets tangled up, and disaster comes right into his lap.
There you see Joe Duvall, our top 5 runners, Fuqua, Whitwell, Hughes, Town, and the 91 of Joe Duvall. And now Fuqua has cleared the car with the Punisher logo on the hood as he gets past Nevada's Scotty Boo. Fuqua takes the low line through 1 and 2. He'll take a similar line through 3 and 4 here as he comes around to the flag stand. Knows that the end of this race is coming soon. He's got 3 laps to go.
And Fuqua running that low line. He's the first one to tell you he likes to run up top. He likes the high cushion. His car is typically fast there, but he also adjusts to a track whenever he has to. And now that low line's working for him as Striegel starts to work on the 4W of Tyler Wolf. Wolf having a good run, started 13th.
Striegel loves a long race, but he may be running out of laps here as Darron Fuqua continues to dominate here. The white flag is out, 1 lap to go for the 87 out of Mayetta, Kansas. We are going to have to come up with a nickname for this guy because he has been dominating. Here this weekend, he's been dominating this season. The top driver in the USRA Modifieds in the national point standings is going to add to that total as he takes the checkered flag here at the Lucas Oil Speedway.
Strong run by the Kansas native. Leads this one throughout and wins by a second over Whitwell.
So the racing now complete here at Lucas Oil Speedway. We'll speak to the winner when we return here to Wheatland, Missouri. The Show Me 100 weekend here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Oh, what a night was the Show Me 100 here, presented by ProtectTheHarvest.com at Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. The USRA Modifieds now complete. We go down to Victory Lane with Dave Argerbright.
Boy, you know, what a great weekend. What a great season it's been for you. We just saw in the previous late model race there, Jimmy Owens has a big lead, has some misfortune. That surely wasn't going through your mind at any point there.
Oh, yeah, it was on my mind every lap. There was a few holes, too. I was just worried that I was going to hit something and DB a tire or maybe break something or just spin it out. But it was a long race. In my head, I hate leading every lap like that. It just seems like it makes the race longer. I didn't know if I was running the right groove. I thought maybe somebody was working that top would be coming around me.
You know, this is a big weekend, and I know a whole lot of preparation goes into this. And you guys had 3 good nights here. You had 2 wins. It's just a really good experience. How much does that help you as far as the rest of your season?
We definitely got some momentum. I just hope we can keep it going. I think we will. This is our 7th win this season. NB Custom built us an awesome car. Thomas McCoy keeps her dialed in for me. It's just going to keep getting better from here, I think.
Darron, it was a great weekend, a great night, and, you know, this thing just keeps getting bigger, this Show Me weekend.
Yeah, I got to thank Forrest Lucas for putting this deal on. This is amazing. I mean, this is the only racetrack in the United States. I feel like I'm at a NASCAR event, you know, and it's just family-friendly and everything above. But I got to thank all the sponsors on this hot rod. If it wasn't for everybody that helps me out, I'd be over in the grandstands watching, wishing I could afford it. So I got to thank Harold's Tire, Big Time Bell Bonds, Weekly Trucking, Towns Oil Field Service, the Airport, Murphy. There's just a ton of people. All my crew, Lance Town for partnering up with me, just my wife, everybody that helps me out, all the fans.
What a great experience, Darron Fuqua. Great weekend, great win.
Good win here today, and let's take a look at the finishing results. Shane Freeby, Corey Riggs with me, and we saw a good race here tonight, but a one that was quite dominant.
Dominant is the right word, Bob. Dominating Darron Fuqua leads every lap and takes home the win. Shane, your top 2, they finished right where they started with R.C. Whitwell. They're in second place.
Yeah, and Whitwell knew he had a rocket ship as well, just not enough.
Power off.
Jason Hughes, what a great day for him, working himself all the way up from middle of the pack. Second in the national point standing, Lancetown finishes 4th. Joe Duvall, who's had an up-and-down weekend, finishes in 5th. Last night's winner, Evan Hubert, in 6th. Cutshaw, 7th. Tyler Wolf comes home in 8th. Mike Striegel, the Wheatland Outlaw, in 9th.
Power off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Darron was able to get out a little bit. Did you need some cautions?
I just wish I'd be a little faster, but really I've been running mid-pack all weekend, so this is a very new car to me, first time USRA, so I'm happy to come home up in the front here, and good company up here. I'd just like to thank LucasOil and y'all for being out here, and Hoskins Construction for giving me the opportunity to be in this car.
You know, you talked about your mid-pack earlier in the week. Is it a learning process to find out about this race car and this racetrack to progress?
Correct, yeah, I've had some good success at this track before, and mostly in late malls, so I know the track very well, but yeah, just getting your car dialed in. I came from the back both nights and was able to start up front, but second place is all right for now.
Well, he's on the podium. R.C. Whitwell, good run and good weekend.
Celebration continues down in Victory Lane, boys, and we had a good field of modifieds here this weekend, more than 60 strong. The best field I've ever seen here for the Show Me 100 weekend.
You see the rest of the field, the way it laid out. Mark Dodson, Chase Jones, Chad Wheeler had a good run at times this weekend, but comes home in 13th, Shane. Terry Schultz in 16th, the principal, Jason Persley in 17th, and Scotty Boo had to race his way into the field earlier today, but he does so and he comes home in 18th place.
Reader and Wolf the same way, getting in through the B's and coming away with the top 20 finish.
Let's head back downstairs to Dave Argerbright.
Well, we know this Jason Hughes guy because he spent a year with us on the Lucas Series, and we talked about before the race, a lot of guys in the pit area figured you would be the big mover coming from mid-pack. Did you need a little better starting spot?
The 2 guys in front of me was really good, so I don't know if it would have done me any good to get up there, but it was fun trying to come through the pack and race with them guys. We really just come up here to watch the late models run and thought we'd bring our IMCA car and test a little bit, and figured if we could run a top 5, we had a good weekend. But turned out a little better than that. But you know, they was both really good, so just glad we got up here in third and get to talk to you here on TV.
I would say anytime you have a test session and you go to the pay window after, that's pretty darn good. But this deal here, I mean, there's a stout field of cars every time they open the gates here.
And there was 67 cars here, I believe. I didn't expect to have that many here, but there was a lot of good cars and lots of good racing. And so, I mean, we had a lot of fun this weekend, and you know, that's what it's all about.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. You said something about having fun, and really, we don't do enough of that in this sport, and this weekend was all that.
Yeah, not anymore. It's not been fun for a while, and we're trying to put fun back into it so we don't just give it up completely. We like to, you know, we want to win races, but it's got to be fun.
Jason Hughes on the podium. Good run, and it was a fun weekend, Jason. Good way to put it.
Indeed, it was a lot of fun had here at Lucas Oil Speedway, and I like the fact that he wasn't even really wanting to run, just let's bring the car because we're going to watch the dirt late models.
You know, there were a handful of drivers that were like that. We just wanted to come out and see what it was. A lot of guys hadn't even been in the car yet this season, so they were really happy to be here just to watch the late